There we go. So today, happy Monday, everyone. We have myself, Stephanie Alatorre out of the Calabasas office, Halley, Wright out of Coastal Properties, and then we have a guest speaker, Eileen Rodriguez out of the Calabasas office as well. So we are talking about prepping for your listing presentation, right? So how many of you are like, okay, I have the appointment, now what do I do? Right? What's happening? So we have Eileen here to kind of help us go through the process. We'll ask her, Hallie and I will be asking her questions and just go down her checklist of everything that she does in preparation for her appointments. You know, like probably starting off with pulling a property profile or the real list off of the MLS. So Eileen, what are your first steps? All of a sudden you got the appointment. What's like one of the first things that you do in preparation for going on your listing appointment?
First, I'm like, obviously, I'm so happy I got the appointment, but already in my mind, I'm prepped at just visually seeing them signing the contract. So as soon as I get to either the office or home, I double check that the owner is who I was speaking with and see if there is a second owner to get the property profile to make sure when I do meet with them, everyone that needs to sign will be there. So that's my number one thing.
Yeah, to make sure the person that you're speaking to actually owns the property.
Yes, that they're not out of the country and they don't even know the other half wants to sell.
Yeah, have you run into instances where you're talking to X and then you pull the property profile and the stuff is completely different?
Yeah, actually I have one right now in escrow and that's what's happening. And one of them is in like Mexico, but you know, it's working out.
Yeah. It's important to have all the decision makers there for the appointment as well, right? So making sure that, that not only who's on title, but whoever is going to be making that decision, because we know that they're not always on title.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So then do you also, do you check on the MLS too to see if it's been listed before or kind of pull up that information as well?
Yeah, so once after that, then I'm going to start getting started on my CMA where I'll put all the comps, which I do look at all the NODs, expires, and I actually like to go back even up to 2 years just to make sure, because for them, sometimes it feels 2 years is like yesterday, and they'll tell me, oh yeah, the house in the corner sold for this much. So I like to look at what has sold and why it sold for that high, if that's one of the reasons. Because when I start talking to them, I want to make sure they know that I'm aware of that everything that's been happening. Because now that I'm in the business for 2.5 years, or I'll say 3 years, then I need to be able to go back 3 years and know that I know that area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it sounds like you do a ton of research just to make sure that you're fully educated from way back, like you said, 2 or 3 years, just kind of know the history, what's going on, and then obviously all the up-to-date stuff. So what else is part of your prep work for, do you mind kind of going through your steps of what you do to prepare for your listing appointment?
Prepare right before I walk to the door.
No, so you got the appointment. We already talked that you're checking the property profile, to see regarding the specifics of, the owner and then the specifics on the property. You check to see if it's been listed before on the MLS. Then what, do you have like pre-qualifying questions that after they set the appointment, are there certain specific questions that you're asking them prior to the appointment just to get you better prepared?
Yeah, my number one is just to make sure why they're moving, so the motivation of it. Because I need to make sure if it's not the price they want, because what I do sometimes, I'll take the listing as long as they're willing to, after 2 weeks of me giving them feedback, to lower the price. So one of the things I just drew a blank, but sorry, I just drew a blank right now. I don't even know what I was saying.
Regarding you kind of prep them up for Like if their house didn't sell for 2 weeks after?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, I
having-
get it. So the motivation of them
Right.
selling. So I always want to make sure I know why they want to move and what's going to keep them to continue to sell their home.
Mhm.
So I make sure I know what their needs and what their wants are. So when I get in there, I'm connecting to them and trying to relate in, oh, this is the reason why you're moving, or oh, this is what you need. So I try to make sure I kind of do a little bit of background on them in either social media or LinkedIn too, because sometimes I can connect through work with either the husband or wife, you know, or to see if meaning like, let's say I met them at an open house and I ended up getting the appointment there. So I'm not gonna know much information on them. So I'll do a little homework on background with the family, see if they have kids, and try to get more, because I honestly, sometimes I do get the appointments right away, but I don't know much about them. So that's my main key when I meet somebody, is the connection that I get with them. And one way to assure myself that I am gonna connect, I try to know a little bit on their background.
Oh, that's awesome. So you do kind of a little investigative work
Yes.
on the clients that you're either that you set the appointment with.
Yes, so once I go in there with the CMA, and, you know, on my CMA, I'm showing expires, currently sold, and active. And I like to do a lot of pictures too, because a lot of them want to see like, oh, my kitchen looks better, or my bathroom. So I like to show them the high ones, why they're selling at that price. So when I'm in there talking with my CMA and showing them the visuals of the actual homes, and try to get similar homes with the same square footage, one of my main things is I try to focus, okay, you told me, oh, you have such a great kitchen, tell me what's good about it. And then I show them the other ones that have similar, you know, price range, and just show them, oh, well, look at this kitchen, to try to get the feedback back up to them. That's it for
Yeah, so so do you typically, you go back to their motivation frequently during the listing presentation then, and also during the listing period, just to remind them why they decided to sell?
Yeah, so I try to do, in my mind, I have it already set. If I'm gonna be there for about 1 hour, I try to touch or connect on their motivations or their needs. Just to bring them back and like, oh yes, we do wanna sell. So I keep reminding them, like, this is why you want to sell, this is why you need to sell. So by the time my 45 minutes is up, I really try for 30 to 45 minutes for me. It's up, it's just like, okay, well, I'm gonna start on the marketing, just like we discussed, you know, this is what I do to get your home sold. But in order to do that, here's the contract, and this is where you normally sign, and gives me the right for me to market your home and sell at the highest price. So if every 15 minutes I'm touching on their motivation to sell or their need to sell, right when it comes to signing, I believe that that's what's gonna get that signature right then and there.
That's awesome. Halley, did you feel free to jump in with any questions that you have as well. But I like how so your time frame is you try to be there 30 to 45 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. And then every 15 minutes, are you kind of doing assumptive closes on them, or, you know, just kind of leading them to sign the contract then?
Yeah, because I want them to be so surprised when it comes out. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what all paperwork are you bringing with you, right? I guess when you're preparing, so let me back up a little bit. Do you have a pre-listing packet that you send to your appointments?
No, I don't. I don't have I bring it all with me there. The only thing I actually leave with them is the CMA. I have like my buyer's guide, if, you know, I'm selling their home to get into it, but I have it laminated and I take it back. My marketing of what I use to door knock or the 1,000 postcards I send out, I have it laminated, but I bring it back with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you, so the only thing that you leave is the CMA. So do you also bring with you a net sheet?
Yes, I do. But I also don't like to leave that there. I did bring a net sheet for me, just so I could know the numbers. So when they ask me, I do let them know the breakdown, and that's probably right before I show up 1 hour. I'll basically say, for the appointment, I say, okay, I'm on my way there. Just want to confirm we're meeting, and this is one of the reasons you guys want to sell, just to, you know, when I get there, they already know I am going in there to close the deal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Do you have, so let me ask you, so on your comps, when you're preparing your comps, you mentioned that you have expires and everything, so do you include, what all do you include in your comps? How many? And then do you drive by the comps? How well do you educate yourself about the comps that you're going to be sharing with them?
If I'm not familiar with the neighborhood, I am definitely going to drive by the comps that I printed for them. So I do the NODs, like, notice of default. I'll do the expires, and I'll do the ones that took over 35 days to sell. And if I feel the house looks really great outside, but I wasn't able to get a picture from the CMA, I will take a picture for them, and so they could see it. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I like doing this, because all the times that I've done that and I've shown them the pictures from my phone, they're always like, oh wow, you actually drove by. I was like, oh yeah, I went a few days ago once I knew I had an appointment with you, because I want to make sure you are aware I have knowledge of all these properties I'm comparing yours with. Mm-hmm. So they kind of appreciate that, and I feel I'm already setting them up for them to know that I'm going to work hard on their property if I'm over here taking time to look at other properties that I haven't sold. Mm-hmm. So I show them, most NODs and expires sometimes are missing a lot of pictures. So on those, I do try to take pictures. And like I said, I believe all of them are more visual. So if I show them that, it gives me a better chance to get the pricing I want to list the home at. Mm-hmm. Because at that point, they'll say, well, what do you think we should list? And then I tell them that, and this is why. And I let them know, I brought you the pictures just because after doing my homework, I highly believe this is the price we should list.
So it sounds like you do an incredible amount of research, et cetera. But like you said, you show that you don't even have the listing yet, and you're going over and above, making sure of the research and everything that you're doing. And that's why you get a lot of listings. We'll know that you do your homework for sure. So you research comps. So you said you the NODs, expires, and then obviously you have the active, the pending, the sold, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I try not to go more than 10.
Okay.
But most of them, I would say I do 6 to 8.
Okay. And then you lead them down the price, because I know we're kind of going back and forth into the listing, to the listing presentation and prepping, but it all kind of, goes hand in hand, explaining why she does, the method, the madness behind the method. I don't know. What's that cliche? I always forget. But it's
behind the madness.
Yes. So do you find yourself having to call agents on other listings?
Never. I never call the agent.
Okay. All right. So how do you evaluate the features of the sellers, prior to being there? Because a lot of times we can't make a final decision or, your consideration until you get there. So do you have them quickly described to you so you can kind of evaluate maybe the pros and cons of their house before you get there, or you just wait and you just evaluate it once you're inside?
Well, I evaluate it when I'm inside, but I already have an idea of, because I try to ask, like, oh, okay, since you guys moved in, what upgrades have you guys done to the home? And I've had just one that I currently have right now. It's like they're like nothing. So if you go on the pictures, it probably looks exactly the same. So at that point, I'll just evaluate the price, what I think probably in the last 5 years what it should be. Mm-hmm. But no, normally only until I see their kitchen and bathrooms, and either I take everything in consideration as in upgrades with the flooring and the number one that makes it sell that I believe all buyers are kitchen and bathrooms. And I let them know that, you know, this is what I think brings the price.
Yeah. Have you had in your experience so far, have you had when you're preparing for a listing appointment that you're like, oh my God, I have no comps or I have no idea where I'm going to gather some information or anything like that? Have you had a trouble one before, and if so, how did you conquer that?
I've only had one like that, and it was land. And honestly, there's no comps, nothing. I kind of just went based on what he wanted. And like I told you, that's one thing that I always make it clear to them. If I don't know the price, like the land, and we have no offers on lands, I give it about 30 days because, you know, it takes a little longer than just any other listing with condos or houses. I go back and I say, okay, it looks like from looking at my reverse prospect, because I could see how many people have looked at the lands in the last, you know, let's say we waited the 30 days and there's only 3 people, then I go back to them and I tell them, well, you know, it's not priced correctly because nobody's even calling me. But other than that, I've been lucky enough to just be able to actually comp everything that I've sold or listed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Halley, are there any questions, or do you have any questions so far?
Not so far. Someone on there's asking what you used as your CMA, what platform?
The cloud on MLS.
That's great.
So so you don't send a pre-listing packet. So what all documents do you bring to your appointment? So we have, because you said you have your marketing plan that you take back.
Yes. Right,
which is good. I know Tom Ferry and some other real estate coaches out there say not to leave your marketing plan. And then obviously the contract. Do you bring the TDS or any of the disclosures, or?
I do always bring the TDS questionnaires with me on the listing because they actually never seem to get back to me on time.
Yeah.
So I do bring the full listing agreement and the questionnaires. That's about it, what I take.
Okay. All right. So you have your marketing plan that you do not leave, so how many points, can you kind of explain what your marketing plan is? The plan that you share with your sellers?
I try to show them on the first week what I will do. So I try to compare myself to other agents. So for example, if I'm showing them the expires, most expires really have like the worst pictures, most of them, which with iPhones are taken. So I try to show them like who I hired to take the pictures, and then I show them the difference on it, and I've laminated my presentation on that, and I actually now have a flyer from the guy that takes pictures, and I'll leave like that, but I cut off all his info. They could Google them and do some homework and probably grab them, but I try to just leave that so they can see what kind of professional pictures I take for their listing. So then I'll show them about 3 postcards, my latest postcards, and I let them know this is something similar to what I will do with your listing, and I'm going to do 1,000 mail outs, and then I will also do 500 doors, which right now, since we are not allowed, I'm mailing them out. I'm printing out about 500 flyers, and I just fold them into like that looks like an envelope, and I mail those out.
So you're doing postcards and the flyer?
Yes. Yeah. The flyer, I mean, it's just paying for the stamp. So right now it's paying off.
Oh, so you're getting responses back from your flyers?
Yes. And I used to put the pricing on the flyers as what my listing is. Now I don't, and before I didn't believe, but because I used to door knock, but now that I'm mailing them out and I'm not there face to face, I'm not putting the price of my current listing on there. So that's actually getting me phone calls because people are asking, well, what's it listed at? So that's good. Another thing, when I'm there with them, I show up 30 minutes before, and right before I show up, I'm out there. I'll do a quick little video for them because I'm not huge on social media. But for them, I'll do a little quick video and I'll say, hey, this is Eileen from KW Calabasas. Here's a new listing in West Hills, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Come take a look at this beautiful home. So I do a quick little video for them. So once I'm sitting there going through, finish with the CMA and showing them my marketing, at the end of showing all my flyers and all the footwork that I put in and all the online work that I put in, I will let them, and this is a video that I will send out to all buyers, agents, and any buyers out there. So, like I said, it's back to the visual thing. That's why I do the video, because they kind of like that. Like, oh, okay, you're going to send this out to everybody. And then I'll say, oh, yeah, we have multiple offices. You know, it's not just KW Calabasas. I'll let them know about the other offices, and all those other agents will get it too. Because, you know, it might be that it's Long Beach, but all of a sudden somebody wants to move to West Hills. So an agent there might be working with a buyer. So just know this is how much exposure you're getting working with me.
No, that's awesome.
I think it's really great to hear your experience and your stories, and it just even says how each realtor does something completely different. Like some of the things that you don't do, you know I always do, or some of the things that you do, I don't do. So I think it's really fun to start to build what your business looks like and build that process. I just think that's really unique and interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And it sounds like, I mean, you have a good system down. I mean, you've worked your tushy off for sure. And to get everything. So it's awesome also to hear, you know, especially, you know, because Eileen is massive door knocker, right? On 15 plus hours a week, you know, before the COVID of doing the doors and all that kind of stuff, and has really built her brand around that, especially over in See Me, et cetera. And then, you know, and then this is what she's had to do to adapt, right? It's like, okay, how the heck am I going to still get the exposure by not door knocking? So I'm glad that you're getting a great result out of your flyers, getting some feedback. Are there any other tweaks that you've done over these last 3 months, 3.5 months?
I also never used to call my past clients for referrals. I never liked asking for anything, but now that, you know, everything slows down, I've been calling them, and that's where I'm getting buyers from. Because before this, I was really focused just door knocking, getting the listing, and always trying to get, in my mind, every time I door knock, I know I was there to help them. And I always saw every door knock and every opportunity I get to get an appointment is always like, okay, this is 2 deals. I'm going to sell this house for them, and no matter where they're going, I'm going to help them find a house. So my main thing is always try to stay positive. Even if you're calling or, you know, just take a break and get back into it. And I like I said, I did not like asking for referrals, and now that I am, everybody's just even happy to hear, like, oh, you're calling me instead of showing up at my door. Like, yeah, you know, how are things going? You know, just, I know, are you tired of, right now, it's like, oh, are you tired of this COVID and staying home now? And, you know, interest rates are so low. I'm just wondering, you know, have you spoken to anybody that might be interested in buying a home? Right now, with the rates so low, you know, their limits might be a little higher. Let me know if I can be of any help to you or your friends. And that's my calls now. And now I'm working with buyers as well, which is very, very hard out there with the low inventory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it's definitely, you know, important for everybody on the training, you know, to focus on listings, right? Yeah, take advantage of the buyer pool that's out there right now, and then just do everything you can just to keep in the conversation with potential sellers, because it's an incredible time to sell, and it's an incredible time to buy, because, you know, as you guys are figuring out, the buyers have more buying power, right? They can get more of a home right now. So what else do you have on your notes? I see you have notes there.
Well, one of the scripts I'm using, which I would use more like in November and December, when people be like, oh, I'm not ready to list. But that's when I feel November, December is the months you work the most. So you start the year off. And now I'm kind of doing that script for COVID right now. So one of the things I use, I'll just read it. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just say, you don't want to go live right now, that's fine. But why would you want to wait and go on when everyone else is on, when everyone else will go on when this is lifted? And sorry, I get so nervous reading. And then I tell them, let's try this. Let me get started on your marketing right now. Let's put things in place for you so you will be ahead of the curve. I don't know when this is going to be lifted or when everybody else is going to be, but I can tell you right now, the market is hot and I have lots of buyers that are ready to go now. So let me start the marketing for you. And when this is all lifted, you'll already be ahead of the game. And usually from there, I'll be like, what do you say? And they're like, let me think about it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just email you the contract. So not only are you thinking about it, but you can also review it in case you have any questions. Because just like, I'm here for you, call me, text me, or email me. I prefer you text me, but go ahead, whatever you prefer. If you want to hear my voice, then call me. And then I just leave it like that. So right now, that's working with the people I already had that were thinking of listing in May, but they were holding off, so I started going to this script now. And now it's just from today, it's like I got, okay, go ahead and send it over. Wow, we'll see how that goes.
Nice. So are you doing circle marketing, or are you still just reaching out just to your farm, or you're doing that in each area where your listings are, like your West Hills one, your new one, right? Or
yeah, it's all in my farm. So West Hills, I've been doing it now almost 3 years, and I just got my first listing there. And 2 of the other ones that I did this script to are also in West Hills, and then 2 in Sinky that I have. But it's mainly only the farms I've been working since they already know of me or seen my face in the flyers.
Because you've also seen an uptick in your listings taken.
Yes.
Over the last month.
Yes. Been a good year.
Yeah, it has been a good year. So how do you, objections? What do you think? How do you prepare for potential objections that you may get at your listing appointment? And do you kind of get triggered on what could possibly be objections during your pre-qualification process? Or, when you ask them how much they want to list a property for and you think it might be lower, or, is there a way to prep for that? What are your thoughts?
I usually just try to go over all the objections we normally do in the role play in the morning. But whenever they do throw something, like I said, I connect with them. So when I'm in front of their face for the presentation, I'm pretty good at just answering any objections they may have. But the pricing, that's the one I really stick to. Okay, I'm going to work just as hard, but in return, please let me know that in 2 weeks after showing you these results, that we can consider lowering the price. Because now I feel I'm a little busier now where I can actually choose the listings I take. So if I know somebody wants something and it's impossible to sell because it's $100K higher than what any other house or unit has sold, then at that point I will walk away from it. Where then maybe I would put a little bit more time and cross my fingers that hopefully they'll drop the price. But I try to have a conversation with them that they'll know in 2 weeks from now, if we're not at this, I am not going to continue to work at something that I know will not sell for that price.
Yeah, so that's good, when having that confidence, right, and knowing, because sometimes when you do take listings that are overpriced or the potential, if you're not able to overcome that objection, then by the time you get to your listing appointment, then you know that you're not going to take the listing. Because remember, we kind of talked about it, and you guys are not only are the sellers and or the buyers, interviewing you guys, but you guys are interviewing them as well. So Yeah, because I know, because I know we all have, kind of our different ways of going about things, and you do extensive, research on the properties, et cetera. And I know Halley and I think both of us do too. We call the listing agents on some that are active or pending or sold, just to see if there's any, if there happens to be concessions, what that was about, just to help with the pricing. So
Yeah.
what? Go
That's
ahead.
so important. Yeah, I think it's really important when you're pulling the comps and you're including them in your listing agreement, calling the agents in the area that are in escrow and who are still active and asking them some of those key questions. I also like to ask them about their sellers. Where are your sellers going to? Do you mind if you're in escrow? Do you mind sharing with me where your buyers are coming from? That's going to help you be able to strategize where your marketing can go from once you've actually taken that listing, right? Because if those sellers are moving out of state, and you find out that 2 or 3 of the comps are both going out of state, or 2 or 3 of the people in the area are moving out of the complex because there's a problem with the HOA, those are all things that you kind of want to know in regards to pricing and then again market strategy. Yeah, I think it's important. I always ask, where are they moving? Oh, also, if they have multiple offers on the property, if they're in escrow, you can ask them, did you receive multiple offers, and are you guys currently in contract with a backup offer? That's going to let you know how hot the buyer pool is. So when you're going on that listing appointment, you can help share that buyer pipeline with them and say, hey, the house down the street had 20 offers before they end up getting into escrow, and they were at this price. Maybe this is going to be a competitive price point for us to be able to start our listing at. But that's something I would do. I mean, Stephanie, you ask questions like that too, don't you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if there's some information that I know that I can't pull from, reading the comps and all that kind of stuff, or if I have certain questions, then I definitely will give them a jingle and see what information that most everybody's pretty accommodating. I've had a couple that are like, it's just like, dude, come on, we're all in this together. Let's help each other out. But it's, whatever, like I said, as long as you can gather the information, and go in there with the confidence and the knowledge with your sellers, then that's good. And then also one thing that we didn't talk about, Eileen, too, is the market stats, right?
Yeah.
Not only do we have the comps, okay, this is what's active, this is what's pending, this is what's sold, expired, blah, blah, blah. We also need, the market stats about what's happening, what are the average days on market, kind of your price range, et cetera.
You can pull a lot of those reports, a lot of favorable reports from the MLS, right? So it's right in that tab. Trying to find an example of one that I did last.
Well, it actually comes out on my CMA. That's one of the pages on there that will show the average days on the market for they're anything 1 mile away from the listing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was going to show you. I think that's nice about those CMAs, and you're using Cloud CMA, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a great one. Cloud CMA, or also Dash CMA is also a really good one, right? So you can pull a lot of favorable reports to, depending on the area. You can go by county, by city, and by neighborhood is usually what I suggest, where you can show, average price, average time on market. So it gives it over, particularly when we're dealing with COVID, you can do it over a 12-month period so you can see where COVID has affected the market. This one's old, but you get the gist of it, right? That's all access to you on the MLS itself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because knowing, what's, where the price points are going, you can do it, obviously on a macro level and then a micro level into their particular neighborhood, which is obviously most important, but really kind of give them a quick snapshot about what's happening, and, just share the story. And then also, because we have different personalities, right, that we tend to as sellers, and some people want, most everybody, like I said, wants the visual to show them, especially when it comes to the marketing. but sometimes the driver is just like, okay, give me the bullet points, or you have the analytic that wants, I need to see all the numbers, I need to know exactly what's going on, get deep, and then the other people want security. It's like, oh, you're gonna make me feel good.
But bring it, right? Bring it. If you don't use it, create this massive listing presentation that you just boil down to all these steps. And if you don't even open up the book, that's okay. Right? That's okay. But let me tell you, if you have it and you don't have it, and you don't prepare it, and you're sitting down, and it happens to be that the driver you've been talking on the phone has a very, more quieter, like an S or a C as a partner, they might want to see those stats. So, just make sure you have them on hand, because you never know. It's always better. What is that Boy Scout motto? Be prepared. It's better to have it on you and with you than it is to leave it, at your office or in your car. So, Eileen, do you use in the Cloud CMA? Do you use the Forward Living presentation?
No, I don't.
Okay. That's cool. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Forward Living and with your offices in Cloud CMA, at one click will actually include the Forward Living listing presentation. It's so easy. I don't know if Dash CMA does that, but I do know it is on the Cloud CMA. And so it's going to have all of the information about like the concierge, which is great. It's going to talk about, the girth and the power of being a part of the Forward Living offices. And it's really easy. You're not going to have to, plug and play and use different PDFs and print and bind them together. You can just print the whole thing out, and it's going to make it really easy, or email it to your client. So it's just a suggestion to you guys, if you don't have a formal listing presentation branded to yourself or your team yet, use one that we already have for you.
Yeah, because we have the Forward Living and then the Forward Living luxury brand.
Yes.
So we have both that are in there. So if you wanted to pull, have the luxury branding dependent upon your, the price point of the listing that you're going to. Mm-hmm. And like Halley mentioned, it has so much stuff. So you really have all the different visuals and information in there to appeal to all the different personalities. Like you said, if you're talking to a driver husband and then more of a steady wife, etc., then you have both to have those conversations.
Yeah.
Conversations with them.
Absolutely. I mean, don't think that you need to sit down and spend hours on creating custom branded pages. Already utilize what's available to you. So that's something cool that I think is fun. So Eileen, what do you do for like follow-up after you've gone to listing presentation? Have we talked about that? Or did I miss it? So after you've like gone through and you've had your appointment, do you do any type of follow-up with someone?
Follow up for when it's picture day?
Yeah, that's a good one.
What is your closing ratio to listing appointments to listings taken?
100. No, actually, no, I lost one. I lost.
That's great. That's a good conversion. So yeah. I guess you probably don't have much follow-up because you already know. That's great. So I'm sure I don't know if I missed this or if you just didn't say, I'm sure one of the other things that you prepare is you do the recon and research for the agents that have market share in the area. Do you do that at all? No, that's okay. Sorry. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. So, and you guys, if you're on Facebook, it's glitching right now. I know it's, hopefully it will come up okay, but I am getting it glitchy on my end, just FYI. So our Facebookers might not be joining us. I don't know, Stephanie, if you can check on your end. It's not, it's doing is it coming up on your end?
I'm trying to, because I had to reload my Facebook, so I'm trying to look.
Okay, is it working now? Anyone on Facebook? No? Yeah, it's glitching out. or if you guys are okay with this, it's glitching really bad. Can we do a new broadcast? Are you guys okay with that, Patricia? I can't hear her. Is it still working on your end, Stephanie?
No, it's all glitchy. So
Okay.
take
We
us
have
off.
The broadcast to Facebook
20
Live
minutes.
has
Let's
stopped.
just start it over.
Okay, she's gonna start it. I've never seen it do that before.
Yeah, me neither. Thank you, Patricia. Just start it over. And then when we come back, we'll get started right back up.
This meeting is being broadcast on Facebook Live.
Okay, let's give it another minute. Thank you, ladies. Eileen's info is so good. I just want to make sure that everyone can hear it all. Don't see it yet. Technology. Thanks for waiting, Eileen.
Thanks a lot.
She's like, we have 20 more minutes and I'm going to be done. So thank you guys. We're going to give it a minute to hop back on. We had a little bit of a problem with the Facebook Live. Is it working now? Okay, good. We'll wait another second here to try to see if we can get everyone back. Technology, right?
Oh, here we are. Okay.
Hey, there we are. I see it now. We have 6 people back. Hopefully we can get some more people back. What were we talking about? Oh, researching the competition, right? So, looking up your competition and whoever has market share in the area, that's something that's always really interesting that I'd encourage people to try to figure out. Figure out who's had the most listings, who has the best market share, and then research their company as well as their services. So figure out, what do their listings look like? Are they good? Are they bad? Do they all have drones? Is everything going way over asking? What does their company offer? What is their structure and things like that? So that way you're aware and prepared, even if you don't know whether or not you're competing for someone on a listing. You can go in with a lot of information, again, because be over prepared. That's going to make you feel much more confident and be ready to roll with any punches that your sellers might throw at you. Steph, do you ever do any recon on your competition? Do you suggest that, or?
Yeah, I mean, it just all depends. I guess each situation is different, right? So, but kind of, yeah. I always just go in and just assume that it's mine, right? It's just okay, competition, what competition, right? But if if I know that, let's say Jordan Cohen or some of these top big guys, Chris Cortazzo, right? It was okay if I'm going up against some of the real big dogs, then it'll be okay, I need to come in with a power play and all this kind of stuff and just really dazzle them the best that I can. However, but still being professional and just being to the point, etc. So. But that's how we should always, I think, show up to our listing presentations, regardless of who our competition is just own it, lean into your power, and know that you're the guy or the gal to get the job done, and that you go over and above and just show them what you're all about and what differentiates you. It's just because, you come across someone that's large and in charge in that particular area doesn't necessarily mean that they won't list with you, because if you got the appointment, then they obviously saw something in you to move forward with, to see what you have
Well,
to do.
that's what we have to remember. They're buying into our energy. So if we got that appointment, why did I get the appointment? They're the ones that want to hire me right away. I'm here for you. Now just sign the contract. But that's the number one thing is the energy right when you get there, you know? I mean, I'm going to a listing presentation, either me or with somebody to help them out. But we got to have that right music right when we get in the car. Then, like I said, you know, you show up, they say 15 or 30 minutes. I say 30 minutes. I'm good with directions, so I could pull it off in 15, but I say 30 minutes for everybody. And when you get there, do that little video, just, you know, showing like, oh my, I was so excited. Look at, I already started on the video. I'm already starting on your marketing because I'm so excited to just even be here, that you allowed me to come look at your home and gave me the chance, and thank you for interviewing me. And then just go from there. But I always have it, they invited me.
Yeah.
They already like me, so there goes +1. Now let's close it.
So what's your kind of your mantra? Like you said, you get there 30 minutes early too, and this is all prepping for your listing appointment, because it's all mindset, right? And how you carry yourself, and just knowing that you're going to knock it out of the park. So what is one of your little mantras? You said listening to music, right?
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite song or a favorite, I mean, you have great playlists.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite song?
I mean, one that I would say I probably use more often is The Pursuit of Happiness, you know, from Kid Cudi. I love that one. But it starts with the moment you leave your house or the office and you're already dressed to impress. Then you got that good music going and you're visualizing that they're signing the contract. And then just stay focused on connecting with them. Because even when those questions come up that you don't know the answer, and you know, it's always like, oh, my team does this, my team, when you're new to this, and you don't know, I was always honest. I remember the first listing I got in Simi Valley, I didn't even know there was a Simi Valley. I just happened to get an open house out there, and I was like, all right, let's see, where's Wade's taking me to Simi Valley, and I found out. But as soon as I got the contract signed, then I told them, okay, well, I have to be a little honest, you know. I'm new, and I didn't know Simi Valley until the day I met you, you know, but that was the one thing they said to me. They're like, the moment we met, I liked the way we just connected. So from that point on, that's what, every time I go in a listing or I meet a potential buyer, I always focus on the connection and keeping that energy that attracts them.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel just having that in mind is what keeps me going every day in this business.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, because and it is, people, energy is infectious.
Yeah.
Right, so if they know that you're passionate and energetic about your profession, and then they, you know, and it starts when you start talking to them initially, and then you get into the setting the appointment, and then getting into the pre-qualification, the energy is consistent during that whole time. So then they know what they're going to get when she shows up at the appointment. But it's really, when we talk about prepping for your listing appointment, it's just prepping for your day, right? Emotionally, physically, intelligently, you know, just being you, right? So you can get there and win the listing each and every time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things too, it's the CMA too. You want to have that, so if you forget or get too nervous, you're going through the page and then you go back and focus. Okay, now it's this portion of the CMA. And a lot of people just get impressed that I take a picture of the front of the house and put that on the cover of the CMA. You know, and I make sure that if I find their house on Google, I make sure when I go take a picture that will know something's on there, that they know I took it, that I didn't just grab it from the internet, like one of the cars being there. Mm-hmm. You know, because honestly, I do get a lot of feedback when there are pictures on there. They feel I took so much time to make a CMA, which maybe in the beginning it did take me, a long time, but now a CMA is like a 3 minute because I already have everything where I just have to put in the picture and the address and everything else just falls into place. So that's really what I recommend all like the people starting is get your CMA ready, and it's the cover. The cover kind of gets them excited in the beginning, and after that is just you being knowledgeable about the comps and everything in their area from 1 mile at least.
So if someone wanted to do a pre-listing packet to go and drop off or to email, I know a lot of agents have different techniques. What are some of the things that we could include? And that's an open question to everyone. What are some of the things that we could include to help enhance that appointment?
For, like I said, the CMA cover, then the latest sales, the current active, and the pictures. That's what they like, the pictures. And I actually drop it off before the appointment. I don't mail it, I drop it off. And I'm dropping it off.
So really, you are doing a pre-listing packet. You said no to that earlier, so that's not true.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do drop it off when I hear that they're interested in selling.
Yeah.
Then I'll drop that off. But if I already have an appointment before I know, because sometimes when I'm door knocking, so when I used to door knock, I would ask, oh yeah, have you ever thought of selling? If I get a pause, I put it in my head. Wait, why did you think about it? Or I'd be like, oh, you thought about it. Well, maybe you're just curious what your neighbor's home sold for. That's why I'm here. If I see that in just the pause or something, I do drop off a CMA, where I've had other agents tell me, why do I do that? It's a waste. But you know what? That's where some of my listings have come from. And then that when I do, because I'll do a drop off today, but I'm probably not going to list it till 6 months to 9 months from now. And I will, again, I don't do a prepackage. I'll take the CMA with me. So I guess I'm planting the seed 6 months prior to that.
So how often are you following up with them? Then, so when they kind of express interest, you dropped off the CMA?
Monthly, they will get a market update from me.
And that's in the mail, email?
Well, right now, everything's in the mail.
Right.
Yeah.
Before?
Yeah, before monthly, they will see me there. Because in my farm, I will door knock monthly, if not twice a month. If a new listing is coming on, then it's more. Mm-hmm. But at least once a month in my farm. I mean, I was door knocking at least 200 doors a day. And that's nothing, really. It was like, what, maybe 3 hours at the most. And then what do we do the rest of the day? Get ready for tomorrow.
So let's say someone's doing a pre-listing package. What are some of the things we could include in there, right? We could include intro or a bio, saying something a little bit about yourself. You can include testimonials. You can include a CMA if you want. That's, something that Eileen just talked about. You can include like broker information. Some people, this is really cool, or market trends report. That's another one. I don't know if you guys have seen these, but all of our offices have access to these, basically these virtual listing these video listing presentation booklets, which you can upload any video or image that you want. So that's a great way to enhance. It looks very professional. It's a great way to enhance, like say, put your testimonials on here, put an example. If you have a listing that you've had before, you could put like your drone video or drone photos or your virtual walkthrough. But even just dropping this guy off, I think it's only $30 and you can get them from all of your offices. And it's reusable, interchangeable. You upload everything. You could do this in your bio, put your business card on the inside, and this would blow people away. I think this is really, really cool. And then again, you can always reuse them. But some people even just email over their pre-listing packages, right? Another technique that you can do is actually send it via certified mail in the nice big mailer size, because everyone loves getting stuff in the mail now, right? Make it look really professional. And it's just going to give them a little something to think about. Stephanie, like what other stuff would you include, or Eileen, would you include in a pre-listing?
I actually, when I would do the drop-off, I would put it in a FedEx envelope, and that, like, they always opened it.
Exactly. It makes them feel special, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How about you, Steph? Would you put anything else in there, or did you ever do them?
Yeah. Did I do them all the time? No. It just kind of all depends on the situation, but I know some agents that they'll do them every single time. They'll include the contract with the purchase price and the commission and the net sheet, so on and so forth. So it's just, they go there with the expectation that they're going to be signed. It gives them all the information, so then they'll handle those objections if there happen to be any during the listing presentation. But include everything but your whole marketing plan. You know, like I said, a lot of the coaches, and they do not leave your marketing plan with the seller or include that in your pre-listing packet. But yeah, definitely everything else that you had indicated as well. But it's just like Eileen was saying too, get the template together, and then boom, it can be an easy, like she said, it takes like 3 minutes. It doesn't take very long, right? To once you get the hang of it. Like some of you on the call are like, yeah, whatever, but because you're still learning. But once it's just another muscle that you're building, right? And the more that you do it, that's why we always say practice. Go in there and practice doing a CMA, right? Because then you're not as terrified for when you do get that listing appointment. So.
Good points. How about, we have just a couple minutes left. How about last thoughts on preparing your listing?
So what do you think is what's the most important thing that you do in prepping for your listing appointment?
The most important is reviewing the comps, making sure because I'm always afraid they might name something that I don't know. So I also will be ready with the MLS on my laptop and the phone, because if they do bring something, a property like, oh yeah, this one sold 2 years ago, and it doesn't, and I don't know about it, and I'm coming into their home saying I'm the expert in this area, I want to make sure I can pull it up and they're right, and not saying, oh wait, that was a for sale by owner, which actually I did have it on here, and then I'll tell them that. So I just, number one is just know that you have to know everything in that area, because you're going in as a professional, not a seasonal realtor. And don't wait, start already with your CMA. Make sure you have that. I know a lot of the mentees I work with, I'm not even sure if any of them have that ready, where if they don't, then let's say they have an appointment Saturday, which will give us 5 days, I hope they have that cover and know how to put it together, and me just look over it to finalize it. So I would say everybody start with the CMA, because you're putting it out there that you're going to get a listing. So start on that and master it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, because it's all about intention and being purposeful. And you said one thing that I'll hurry. You know what we were talking earlier about pulling up the property profile, etc., and then pulling up the comps in the MLS. When you're talking like about FSBOs, always make sure that you pull up the comps from your title as well. So you pull up property profile, because then there's stuff in there that could have sold or closed that was not in the MLS, right? So you always want to be privy to everything that's going on. So in addition to the MLS comps, just check out the transaction history, etc., within your title credentials area. Okay, and then just go out there and believe you can do it. Take those listings. All right, Halley.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. There really is 2 parts to this. 1, preparing the docs, and 2, educating yourself. Before you walk in that door, you need to prepare all the docs. You need to prepare your listing presentation. You need to pull a property profile. You need to get net sheets. You need to give a copy. You need to have a copy of the listing agreement. I always say, bring it in there, fill it out for 6%. Fill it out for 6%, right, before you walk in there. I always suggest bring a copy of the RPA. Because if you are having good conversations with your seller, you can show them and prep them. This is what the offers are going to look like coming in. You know, this is what they're going to look like. This is the things that I'm going to look for. It helps validate, you know, your information and things that it really helps validate that 6% in your knowledge. You know, do your CMA. That's another great one. You know, use Cloud CMA or Dash CMA. Because it's really going to give it in a nice professional format. You know, make sure you bind it, put it in something nice. You know, you can use the super nice thick binders like we have here. Again, that's at your disposal. With a unibind, you could use just the simple, you know, 3-ringy binder kind of guys, but it's a great thing to hand. It's a great thing to hand your client, right? And then the second part to that is absolutely educate yourself. Know the comps, know the area, drive the comps, know why people are leaving, know why they're selling, know where they're coming from, you know, really be the neighborhood expert. And again, that's going to really give you the confidence that you need to get, it's all about signing on the dotted line, right? It's all about signing on the dotted line. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about preparing your listings than you knew before this hour. And thank you for being understanding about the technical difficulties. Thanks, Steph, and thank you, Eileen, for your wonderful insight. We appreciate you so much. We're here for you. Reach out to us if you need help prepping your listing, right? Stephanie and I are here for you. Okay?
Always. Thanks, Eileen.
Awesome.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Woo!
Everyone have a good day. Get those 6%, okay?
That's right.
Facebook Live.
Get the 6%.
Recording.
I think it said recording.
The broadcast of Facebook Live has
We're
stopped.
good. Thanks, Eileen.
Thank you.